So I want to suggest quickly a couple of things that can be useful, and then I'm going to stop and we'll have time for your questions and so on. So you may actually, as I've been listing all this, been thinking to yourself, man, this is getting pretty depressing, and I can't believe I came out for this, and because it all sounds difficult. Well, actually none of this suggests to me that we're helpless. It just suggests we need to think about raising kids in a way that is simpler rather than more complicated. So here's the first implication for me. Technique won't save you. Parenting technique, that is, won't save you. We're a nation in love with technique. We've come to imagine that anything from kicking a field goal to operating on a brain can be broken into isolated techniques taught, learned, and practiced at a high level. That's surely true of many occupational things. It's not true of parenting. Now, no parent would get through a month, a week, without some maneuvers. You have a child who always does the opposite. You say yes, he says no. So you say no to make him say yes. You use a little judo, something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something more pervasive. Unfortunately, we've had this epidemic for about 25 years of onslaught of terrible advice books for parents that clog the bookshelves and Amazon.com, giving lots of bad advice. If you went home tonight and tried to track it all down, you'd find about 2,000 advice titles for parents. I certainly haven't read all of these, but I've read a distressing number. And I can tell you that a lot of them are not worth the paper they're written on. They have no science in them. And others do have accurate information, but they manage to do the opposite of what the author and you want. You finish the book and you feel worse because you're suddenly second-guessing yourself because the last book you read said to do this, and this one says to do that, and you've been doing it wrong, and now what? Right? And I think, my experience about this, there's two kinds of parents. There's parents who read these books, there's parents who don't. That would stand to reason. The parents who do read these books are often upset that their husbands won't. We have a number of dads here. I'd like to put in a word for the dads. You've come here tonight. In your house, there's a library of parent advice books that you haven't, one in particular said you haven't read. Don't. Pick it up tonight, thumb through it, and estimate the time it would take you. Take that time and do something with one of your kids because you and he or you and she would just like to do it, not because it will improve him or her. You'll just have a little Mr. Rogers here. Just something you'd like to do because you'd like to do it. You put some money in the nurture bank. You'll get likely to get more for your effort. And the reason is much more than I can say here tonight, but the short form is this. The books just cannot begin to address so much of what's crucial about helping children become resilient. For one thing, there's all sorts of stuff we simply can't control, which I began talking about a minute ago, that they don't acknowledge. All of you who have more than one child, you know they came out different. All you did was carry them, you mothers. Some come out like my first, quiet and respectful. I was there helping, I saw. Others come out like my second, quiet and not respectful. I was there helping and I saw. In adolescence, when the hormones kick in, the quiet ones often get noisier. The noisy ones never get quiet. This is what we call temperament. It doesn't change. You have a rambunctious, rowdy, loud, outgoing, sort of a child. This child's unlikely to end up as a librarian. You have someone who's sort of quieter, a little shy, a little more cautious, a good reader, very friendly, very warm, but it takes him or her a little bit to kind of get to know you. This person's not likely to end up as a disc jockey on the radio. It doesn't mean it determines their entire life or there's nothing you can do. It means there's something in there that has to be respected. Some kids are less confident, outgoing, but in the course of their lives actually learn to adapt as they need to situations that become challenging. So they don't look or seem what we might think of as resilient at first. but they actually have a kind of an inner strength that eventually you can see, especially as they get older. There are others who seem very rambunctious and full of braggadocio and stuff, who actually are less confident underneath. But what we can't do is take that temperament and change it.